Alright, welcome ladies and gentlemen. So my name is Melvin. I go by the name Cyber. Well, this video right here tufuna tungosolani a little bit about React, right? Need to explain to each other about React. So this has come about due to a lot of people asking me questions about React. So I thought it wise to simply just create a single video that caters for everyone else, right? So as we always do, video iti zilongosola mu chizungu komanso we'll be explaining it in chichewa. Alright, so with no further things to talk about, let's get right into it. Tisajedwe. So this project, right? React. I'm pretty sure you have the theoretical concept of React, right? I'm pretty sure you have an understanding of what React does, an understanding of props, React hooks, right? And an understanding of the fact that who developed React, right? So in this video, we'll mainly focus on the practical parts, right? We'll focus mainly on the practicals. So umumu tizivanga za hands-on, right? Mumu tizitenga ma theoretical concepts aja, mumavanga implement. So let's begin. So I'll be learning by an assumption that everyone else have installed Node, right? So you need to install Node.js. Okay, that's where our React app will run. It creates an environment for React app to run. So you need to install Node.js. And I'm pretty sure you've also installed Git, and I'm pretty sure you've also installed VS Code. So we'll be using VS Code as our IDE, right? So we'll be writing our code in VS Code. So let's begin. So the first things first is you create the React app, right? So to create a React app, you run the command npx create React app, and then you give the name of the application that you want to create. For example, right? Let me go to git bash. You type npx create React, and then you give it a name, right? Like new app, right? So when you hit enter, so what you're doing here, you're telling the compiler, you're telling it to actually create a React app, right? So you're creating a React app which will be called the new app, right? So when you run this command, what will happen is it will create for you a bunch of files, right? To create for you a folder, and in the folder we'll have a bunch of files, right? For example, these are the files that were created when I executed that command, npx create React app, and I'm gonna create these files, right? So they are made by these files. What are these files trying to mean? Files were ndijani, what are they saying, right? So they are made by. So let's open this project with VS Code, right? So I'll right click into the project folder and I open with VS Code, right? So this is VS Code, right? This is our app. It's called new app. So these are the files that has been created by default, right? When we run the npx create React app, my files are not default in the menu, right? So now we need to start working with these files and create our own React app. So what you must know, let's start with the first folder, right? This folder here, written node modules, right? This folder contains all the dependencies, my libraries amene tapanga install, right? Zinthu zonse zomwe tapanga install zomwe zikuthandizira React app yathu zimakhala kuyani kuma node modules, zimakhala kumeneko, right? So this folder and the folder would be just as a rule of thumb, right? Never touch this folder. Say clear or say delete or sabange delete, because once you do that, the application have also so here. So folder A is here or say clear, right? The next folder is the public folder. The public folder mapezeka index.html, which is the entry point for our React app, right? So app ya to tikayipanga start, imafikira muti minimum index.html. As you can see, we have a root right here, right? So imafikira pa root. So tikapanga npm start kapena tikapanga start application yathu ya React imafikira pa this guy. Ma files enawa ndi ma default files ngati malogo, as you can see, right? Ni ma default files amene akuthandizira kuti tikapanga npm start tionese zina zake, right? I'll demonstrate later on. The next folder is the src folder, right? So I want you to think of the src folder as our entire project, right? So program yathu yonse, right? Application yanu yonse, think of it kuti ili mu src folder. All right, so as a rule of thumb, let's treat src folder as an entire application. As you can see, we have got the app.js, which is the root component, right? So this is like the first component or the root component. All right, ngati mchiwati koyongoswa kuti ili ngati component yomwe, okay, mchichiwazivuta koma let's just call it a component which is high in the hierarchy, right? The root component, like the first component app.js. So it has a css file, right, to style the code in here. This is just default code, right? We have got all these other bunch of files, right? The likes of reports, right? Zinazopangira testy and the likes. Okay, and we have got the index.js, which is taking in our app component and passing it to our root HTML index.html index.js from the public folder. Index.html from the public folder and displaying it. So basically, index.js akutenga the app component, right? Atenga app component amakepanga render ku root kwathu uja, right? So that's that about that. So to actually get started, we start off by removing unnecessary files. So as you can see, my files enayo kuti nda defaulted omwe atipangira kale yani yatipangira kale React tapangalani npx create React app. For example, if you go into the project folder, right click and open git bash here, tikapangalani npm start change. So npm start ni command yomwe timayuza kuti tipange start application yathu, right? So what will happen is application yathu iyi tikuyitsegula. So tikayitsegula, this is a React app, it's web based, imapanga run pa browser wathu, okay? Imapanga run pa browser chifukwa it's a web based application, right? Pa browser, let's just wait for the browser to open. In the browser, it runs at localhost port 3000, right? So imapanga run pa localhost port 3000. So zitachitika kuti let's say tab iyi taiseka, right? You can simply just type localhost 3000 itipitisa kuchani ku React yathu, as long as the development server is running. The development server ndi pamene tapanga npm start timakhala panga start a development server, right? As long as the development server ikupanga run, we can access our website via typing localhost.3000 ku browser wathu wina aliyense amene muli naye. So basically you're not limited to use Chrome, right? You can use any browser, right? So let's wait for it to complete. Let's wait for it to load and complete. Alright, so as you can see, so this is the React app, right? This is the React app. So pano ma default files aja ndamene apangisa kuti paoneke kuti pali content, eh? So if for us we don't need these default files, so let's clear up our project folder. Right? Let's clear up our project folder. So I'll open side by side, these two, expand this. So let's clear up our project folder kuti tiyambe no from scratch, but okay. So let's delete some stuff. Okay, so basically the task you might is just deleting stuff, right? So let's select the stuff. Let's say in public we have the favor icon, I've got the logo, right? We don't need these things, so we delete, right? So we're going to delete it as an index.html, which is the root, and we can never delete the root, right? Because it's the entry point. If we delete the root, then we'll not have an entry point. Basically our app won't run, right? Okay, so here in this folder we don't need app to test. This file is used. All right, sorry, right there, my laptop battery died in Azima. So yeah, as I was saying, up to test, this file is used for testing, right? So right now we don't really need much about testing, so we can delete it. So we'll delete this file. We'll delete the logo, the report web vitals. This will delete. We can also delete the index to the CSS, because index to JS chiragende ngovanga render my components, so we don't really need the CSS for that. We delete. All right, so far so good. So we have got only the app.js. So we should remove the logo here. Input logo, you can also remove the default information here, and let's just write app. Right? So you can render only app. Then index.js report web files. So let's remove it here, and let's not import it anymore. And let's also remove the index.js.css right there. Save it. Let's see if it's complaining. There we go. Now it's smooth and fine. Command, we have got our app written on the center. This is pretty much because let me open this side then. We have our app on the center. This is pretty much because yes, Sidnamu Sinteta Moses. So also open app.css. Let's delete everything else from here and let's save. So as you can see now, app. So now at this point now timakano kuti tapanga clear out chichonse cha default. Now no tofuna tiyambe pono creating our own React app. All right, now we want to start creating our own React app. All right, so tiyamba modern, right? Tiyamba modern. So just as for example, when you're building a house, right, you need proper organization, right? You need to organize things properly. It's the same way in React. In React, when you're building an application, we need proper organization, right? With proper organization, it will help us kuti so grow mutisasapese kuti takodwa kapena we are failing to implement some things just because of how we organized everything else. So to simplify this, we'll start with organization of the directories, right? We start with organization of the directories. So what is the first thing that we should do? First of all, mu src mucha, right? Src. So as you remember, React is component based, right? React is component based. So basically React app papeji bacha pamakhala kuti tangopanga combine ma components osiyana to create a single page, right? This is from the theoretical part that you probably did in class. All right, but if you need another video for the theoretical parts, just say so and we'll do the theoretical parts. Komano, the fact remains kuti React is component based, right? So I can do website ija. Let's say for example, let me open I'll open eBay, right? For example, maybe eBay joint, right? So this thing right here, section I mean ikozo ka component bayoka imene, right? Imene ikozo ka component yayoka tikoza kuichula kuti header, imene component yayoka header. Iyi ikozo ka component yayoka kuichula kuti slider. Iyi iso ikozo ka so component, right? So when you're saying kuti React is component based, timakhala kukamba things like those, right? It's how React is laid out. Okay? So right, I wanted to open another website for you to appreciate. Right, for example, if you go to Alibaba, you also see the very same layout, right? You can see the Tindiga section. This thing right here is a component, right? It can be treated as a component in React. A component yayoka, home is component yayoka, right? Timakadit component, 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 component. Tima component to bangira lenda which component ichi. chachikulu ichi, topanga palenderan the small components. So React is basically component based. For example, if I activate this guy right here, you can see my demarcations, right? So you can see we do, let's say for example, container ndevanga hover unaona kati mwini ma components osiyana siyana, right? This can be a component, this card can be a component, this card can be a component, this card a component, right? If you go down, for example, maybe ichi chikolokazo chi component pachoka, right? These categories component chayoka. Mono demarcation yabwera, there's a demarcation here showing good now we are moving from one section to another section. This is just moving from one component to another component. All right, so that's basically more of React, right? It's component based. So when we are creating our directories, we need to take account the fact that React is component based. All right, so what is this I'm using? So this is just pesticide, right? It's an extension called pesticide. It's an extension for Chrome. So you simply go to manage extension, you go to extension store, mugango seja pesticide, you find this extension. It's really nice because imautandiza uruziziwa since everything on the page of CSS is rendered based on the box model, CSS, right, and HTML, right? Based on the box model, this guy pesticide helps you understand the boxes. As you can see, everything else is boxed, right? Simply trying to work around the box models for you, right? Give you a visual representation of the boxes. But anyways, let's go back to our React app, right? All right, so yeah. So as I was saying, the first thing now we need to take account is to the fact that React is component based. So my SRC folder yato, we'll create a folder, right? Got my SRC, a folder, let's call it components. Okay, so I'll use small letters, components, right? And we can also create a new folder called pages, right, where we are going to store all our pages. So inside the components folder, okay, let's start with the pages folder. Inside the pages folder, right, we can create, let's say, the home page. Home page, right? Then we can also have a page such as about us page. Right? We can have two folders like this, right? And inside the components, we can have a component called header, right? And we can have another component, let's say footer, right? So you can lay it out this way, right? So inside homepage, we'll be using JSX, and I think you've heard of JSX, an extension called JSX. So for example, we'll say home page dot JSX, right? So JSX is just an extension that allows us to actually combine JavaScript the HTML, right? So JSX now turns out the combine JavaScript and HTML into one file. So we can add inside our homepage tibanga homepage dot copy that homepage dot JSX, and we can also create a new file, homepage dot CSS. Right? So that means JSX muka our actual component, right? Mu homepage dot CSS muka styling yet, yeah, this component. Right? We can also do the same with the borders page. So this banga the name, put in this banga copy more simple. About us page. So you can create about us.jsx, and you can have a new file, about us.css. There we go. And we can do the same with the header and footer, right? So to not waste a lot of time, I'll pause it and I'll jump where I've already created the files. Let's go. So as you can see, move folder remember component folder remember footer. We have got the folder to JSX and the folder to CSS. So we have done the same conversion for all the pages and components, right? So let's do with the home page. Home page. So since React is component based, and in React we'll be using, it's recommended, of course you can also use classiful components, right? Command will be using functional components, simply because functions are first class citizens in React. Right? What do we mean by first class citizens? So, well, functions can be assigned as variables, functions can be passed, right? You can return from a function. So basically functions are powerful in React. So we'll be creating functional components basically, okay, on the sense that functions are actually very powerful in React. So we'll import, let's import, first of all import React from React, right? So we're telling it that this is a React component, right? So even the pages are components, right? So we're telling you that this is a React component, right? So write export default function. So we're defining the functional component. So the we call it homepage. Always remember to start the function name with a capital letter, right? So homepage, inside will return a JSX file. Basically will return an HTML file. So give it a div right there. There you go. Like this. And inside we'll simply type in home. There we go. So ndipanga chimozimozi mene ndapangira apa kuma pages eno sale, right? So I'll pause it so that we don't waste so much time. All right, so I've created the functional components for each and every component in the project in our React app. So for example, about us page, I've created the about us function or functional component returning text about us. Same thing to header, is going to return text header, and footer, you're going to return text footer, right? So now we have created our pages, right? We have our home page, we have our about us page. Command for some reason we still have the word app being rendered on our React application, right? Command what we want the home page to actually being displayed. Start our React app. How can we do that, right? So what we need to do now, we'll import our homepage component in our loot component, right? So tibanga pass into our loot component, and our loot component will pass it or render the component, right? So how are we going to do that? So let's go into our app.js. Go up to JS. App. Let's remove the app. So let's add in our component. So we render a component in such a way by creating a self-closing tag, and we save. Right? When we refresh, you can see now we have got home typed in. So this home that is being typed in is basically that which we typed on home page. Right? And also, I forgot to add one thing. I'll be teaching you some tips and tricks that you can actually be using VS Code as we go along, right? Like for example, if you have a component in Gajonji, you can simply right click and go to definition, right? Imasegura. Komekuli definition ya component here. So that's just some tips and tricks to not keep you from moving, to reduce your time, development time basically. So yeah, mene mwenye tapangira lenda yani homepage, right? So titafunaso tikozopanga lenda borders page. Kuzopita ku app.js, right? Just a home page. You can also render about us page, right? And another trick, a shortcut for importing components or anything else that can be imported, you simply select the thing, hit Control and space like this, and it will give you a prompt to import it. Just click press enter, tabanga import, right? And if we click save, you see good now our page has changed to about us page. So I'm pretty sure you are following, right? So that's how you actually render components in your React app. Right? So pamene tafika apo timati no project ja yayambika, right? Pamene timati project yayambika. So the next thing and the most important thing that I want to stress about is routing, right? Is routing. What do we mean by routing, right? I want us to be able to move from one page to another, right? To move from one page to another. What do I mean by that, right? Let's say for example uli pa homepage, uli pa homepage ndifuna ndikhale ndi header kapena link yoti ndikayipanga click izindipitisa ku about us page, ndikapanga click pa ku about us page kuti ndibwere ku homepage zitabwera sokutani homepage. So icho ndifuna ndipange ndicho kuti zitapanga swap ma pages, zitapanga move through ma pages, cause website yako munthu zizoti ngakhale ya page imodzi imakhala ma page angawo and munthu umene uzipanga move from one page to another, right? So this thing anthu amene mamusala HTML, it is achieved using my anchor elements, right? Maika anchor elements, umaika href, uyika link yakumwe kuli chani kuli the page yomwe ufunayo. Komano in React we do this in a whole different way, right? How are we going to achieve this? We need to install what we call React Router DOM, right? We need to install React Router DOM. So React Router DOM is a library yomwe tithandize to handle routing of our pages. Alright, so maybe I'm talking a lot, but don't worry, we'll put it into practical and you basically understand what I'm trying to say. So let's do this now. Let's get into React Router DOM. So as a rule of thumb, before you go to any library or adding anything else, it's best to actually look it up. For example, we want to do React Router DOM, right? Do React Router DOM. This is React Router DOM. W3 schools explain best for some reason, even more than the actual documentation. Well, this is just a personal opinion, but I'll use React Router using W3 schools. Let's go. Ndeta musegula apa ndautuza kuti to add React Router pali makomanda awiri kozopanga run command iyi kapena ngalufuna React Router wa latest kozopanga run command iyi ndene ndikufuna wa latest ndikhando wakale chifukwa chani wa latest alipo. So let's run this command and install the latest React Router DOM, right? So let's copy this guy. Yeah, tamutenga imene wa latest, right? Kind of my latest. All right, let's go to the new app. We open git bash right there, and then we paste in the command to install React Router DOM, right? Right. So as React Router is being installed, right, one more thing that I forgot to add, right, was the issue about the app, the package.json and the package log.json and the git ignore, right? So the package.json and the package log.json, these two files are just there to track the dependencies that we have in our application, right? So we'll imagine kuma modules, right? My libraries osamalowa, right? So this file imapeza kuti ndiyayikulu kwambiri komano chifukwa icho chimapeza kuti nchachikulu ndi zinthu zokuti we are not really going to edit. They are literally the same things, we just simply use them, right? So this package JSON and package log JSON imakandi copy ya ma dependencies amene ali kumene ku node modules, right? So what I'm saying is imagine kuti magawo amakhandi list ya anthu. Okay, imagine kuti ma node modules wa ndi magulu anthu, magulu anthu. Let's say kuli anthu wa computer science, anthu wa chemistry, kuli anthu achakuti, right? So anthu achalesa ndi mayina ake. So package log and package.json amakangati wangopanga summarize, right, the node modules. Let me try to open this one. For example, you can see ababa my dependencies. We have got testing library, Chanchan DOM, and the version right there. So with just this word right here, React amata kuzokuti okay, file iyi ndikhoza ku download with just this thing right here, right? So chomwe chimachitika ndicho kuti imagine I'm pretty sure no simapanga ku push ku GitHub, right? So if you have noticed chomwe chimachitika munthu akapanga push GitHub mukapeza ma files awali musiwa kuma node modules samapezekako. Alright, modules amakapezekako GitHub zimakhala zakhala bwanji. Chomwe chimakhala chitika nchokuti node modules ndi folder yaikulu kwambiri. Alright, ndesenga maipange push maipitisa ku GitHub when the folder is actually something that will not bring that much value ku GitHub kuja. Alright, that's why this one timaipanga add ku .git ignore. If you're done git and if you're done git, you probably know about the .git ignore file. Momwe timaika all the files amene tifuna apange ignore popanga push local repository ku online repository. So tikapanga push local repository to online repository, ma files awawa sapangidwa nawo push. Ndiye timaika mu git ignore. For example, node modules watu chandamene alemeye pachikhalire tamuuza kuti yeyi samapangidwa nawo push kupita ku GitHub. Alright, so a question wina kozofusa kuti ndenga node modules sitimupanga push kumbisa ku GitHub, nanga munthu akatenga project ija ku GitHub uja ika pa PC pake ilana bwanji. Alright, nde kuti ilane no project ija timapanga run command. Let's say munthu apanga clone project ija ini mu PC mwake, munthu wina osatu amene wapanga push, munthu wina ayipanga clone pa PC pake, nde pa PC pake pachafuna ilane, komano atayipanga clone papeza kuti node modules folder sapezekamo chifukwa chopanga push uja anapanga ignore kuti uyu asapite nawo. Now what is this guy going to do? Now you run the command npm install, right? So command npm install imathandiza kuti tipange install ma packages onse, ma dependencies onse tipange install. Tikapanga install ma dependencies yo imatipangira yo create yani node modules. The question ijano ikhala kuti imaziwa bwanji kuti ndipange install dependency yo kuti ziyamba dependency yo tipange install imaiza package.json the package log.json. Right, I hope you have understood the usage of package log.json and package.json. Alright, so let's continue. As we can see, our React Router DOM has completed downloading. So now let's use React Router DOM. Alright, so first of all, we have got our pages and our components, right? So to use React Router DOM, let's start by creating a header component. Right, so we'll start by creating a header component. So let's do that. We go to header, we open the JSX, right, and let's import the CSS. Right, so the import header.css. Right, now you're going to create header component, right? Create header. So let's begin, right? Let's begin. So you tipanga tindi div, right? The header yathuyo ifuna ikhale tipiteka ipambala hapo. Let's demonstrate how I want our header to be. Let's open our React app right there. So header tizakhala mwamba apa tizakhandika logo, uku tizakhandika text ko panga represent logo, uku tizakhandi what we call my links athu, right? So let's create the header. So I've chosen kuti ndizipanga step by step nonse mukuona, right? Kuti anthu ena so mwina they can gain some experience on how we are actually doing things. So I will not pause this part, tizipanga step by step, right? So hii khala chance yanu yokuti amene msamuzi wa CSS muzikangalizo muuzi wako ka CSS, amene msamuzi wa HTML muzikangalizo mudani muyasa HTML sose pakamodzi, right? So nini div imeneyi, right? Then ndikuti ndikufuna top left pakhale text, right, ya page yanga, top right kukhala links, right? So top left kukhala text yake tiika mu paragraph, right? Then text imeneyi tipasa class name yoti yani logo, tipasa class name yoti logo pokaipanga behave ngati logo. So logo yake ichula kuti new app, then new app uja nimuyika mu span, don't worry about the span iyi ndifuna ngomuyiza for beautification cho ndifanira vange ndifuna apo ndizamuyike mustari yayeka. Right? You appreciate. Right? After that ku top light tikhala ndi an ordered list. Right? And tikhala ma list items. Right? And kati mwa ma list items tizikhala ndi ma link athu. Right? So ma link athu tikhala ndi home. Right? Link yachiwiri ikhala nemba kuyani about us. Let's put them in a single line. I'll put them in a single line right there. We come home and about us. Okay, so this will be my header basically. Right, so this one, the root div root plus a class name header. Right, so let me import this header kuti tizimuona. So we'll go to app.js. Pali about us page, we'll remove the about us page, and let us render the home page. So we'll render the home page like this. Right? And pamwamba pa home page tipanga render yani the header. Okay, so please take note of how we are actually linking the stuff. Tipanga header. So header pamwamba pa home component. So you could download with header.css. What is wrong with header.css? So right here, we got path buino, so it's header.css right there. Right, so as you can see now, header watuja. Right, so I'll turn on my page side. Right, I'll turn on my page side. So page side wanga demarcation. So now let me finalize the header. Header chanduyu then again CSS pango. So CSS tiambira ndi this header, right? Tiambira ndi this header. So layout yomwe use flex boxes, right? So layout of flex boxes, they are simple. So it creates flexible items, right? Let me demonstrate. First of all, use the flex box. Set display to flex. So display, set it to flex like this, right? And then we'll justify content space between. Kuti china chipite ku left, china chipite ku right. Ane by china uthandiza kuti fuka muona mukati mwa header muli choyamba ichipi chachiwiri cha ordered list. Then muza header yakuti zinthu zako zili ngatizo, chinthu choyamba chipite ku left, chachiwiri chipite ku right. That's why chachitika choncho. Right? Zachitika member. So yeah, that is so far so good. So the next thing that we'll do is let's play around with the logo. So logo, TS pasa padding 0, margin 0, right? Right, I'm just padding the margin. So on size yagi, you can size yaiji, right? Komedi konze later on. Font size, I'll give it 1 rem. One rem. I've refreshed, things will go sideways. So let's go to the header JSX right there. Alright, so I've got, I'm just trying to make sure nothing is interfering. Okay, just give it a color, let's say something like red. Alright, so it's responding. What happens if we remove this? Alright, fine. Give it something like 2 rand. Alright. So yeah, cola. Let's give it 1.5. Okay. Right there. 1.5 rand. So let's give it some font weight. 100. And our entire app pass a font style modes. So the bit of CSS go root, right? So up to CSS they go root. So my global styles application actors they make go root image. Okay, because this is the root component. So basically what this into uses bang affect chili chose jaw. Right? So you can add the root component here, the bang font family. This something like this. No, you see that program at yours. So the user So we go back to our header component. Right? Specifically, we need our header.css. Right, header.css. Let's make it a bit more bold. Let's give it something 900. There we go. Actually, body. So let's leave the color to black. Black kinda looks bad. Let's put it gray. Right. So we can also use this slider right here. Just simply choose a certain color that we need. Give it something like that. Kasakaiga black, kasakai soka gray wambili. Chonchi. The logo.span. Uja nani ya uli numusungira uja. You can do something logo. Span. You give it a color of blue. Favorite color of blue right there. So basically logo, so far so good. So let's create the other side. So in the other side, we have got an ordered list. Ordered list amount of one padding in my margin again. So let's just put margin 0. Padding 0. Let's give it list style none. If you see the margin, the madon total. Then in passes so display flex. Tampanga display flex. So yeah, basically that's good. So another list my list items another list my list items another list my list items. Let's give them a margin here go left, margin left of 1m. Ataligane bwino azivuma bwino. Let's give him something like 2m. 2m sounds good for me. Right, let's give them something like a display flex. Let's just try. Let's give them, let's see. Alright, fine. Let's try to give them a margin and padding of 0. So I like to put padding and margin of 0 for the my CSS styles in my default styling, right? So I do this to make sure that there are no any CSS doing some funny business, right? Example, right? Just to make sure nothing is doing any funny business and everything is going as planned. So put JSX, right? So here we are. So I've given it a margin left. Let him pass a text bwino. So give it let's give it let's see. Let's give it some color. Kaliso ka gray. Ka gray kabwino kena kage. Kosa wala wambili, kosa feda wambili. Ka font weight kena kage. And another list teacher is bank centers into content center, and align items center. There we go. Now we can actually turn it off, and we can see our home looking so fine and clean, our header looking so fine and clean. And we can give our header a border bottom of 2px solid. Let's try blue. We can give it something like that. Give it something like that, and then give it a margin bottom. Let's say of 2m, something like that. So basically about header watu, right? Tabanga header watu. Now my list items that haja because I got kesa ikale pointer, kesa ikale pointer ndere kabanga point yonji pazwa jizanja, right? Komaso tikabanga hover. Let's add some nice animation, right? Let's add some nice feedback, user feedback. So I've copied the same thing, right? And okay, this display flex is not doing anything. Let me remove it. This one right here, so it's not doing anything. So can remove this. Okay, so carry more. And we had a condition would be on hover, right? On hover, while we are hovering while we hover the element, what should happen? Therefore, the cardboardness kaja kazijoga mawaja zikangara jeva. So give it something like 200. No, hover. Give it something like 200. Komaso, let's change the color to the blue. Okay, or the movement because I don't think I'm vibing with that. Because as you can see, Kabanga hover blue, right? So now let's go now back to our routing. So that was just a sample way of how you can use HTML and CSS. I will now demonstrate how you can actually use CSS, DJSX. So that's how, right? That's how. So now let's continue now with the routing, right? Let's not forget the whole concept here. We are here for routing using React router DOM. All right. So now let's route. If you're still watching the video, thumbs up to you. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. All right. You can also search me on GitHub as Melvin Caridoso. You follow me and I'll follow you back. Also, I'll be contesting in the Com Society elections that are coming. Don't forget to vote for your man, right? So basically, I'll be standing on the vice project coordinator because I'm more into the projects, man. I'm deep into the project. Ifeo tikakale anthu omukodaso Com Society website, optimizing it so that it functions at its best. Right, anyways, so let's continue kubanga za routing, right? So yeah, so let's go up to JS. So this is how you do routing, right? We go up to JS, so right, and as you can see ku W3 schools you must import browser routes, and we add in the routes, right? So what we do here, we'll import the browser. Let's import the browser right down here. We import the browser. Browser router from the router. No, it's not a safe closing tag. So let's clear out our home page. There we go. Right, so as you can see, header tamusiya kunja kwa browser router chifukwa header zikhala fixed, page nayo sizikhala ndi header leti mamusiya kunja kwa maroutes athu. So we'll import the route. routes. Let's wrap it around routes. Let's put it here. This thing is disturbing me. For some reason that is disturbing me. Let's put routes. Routes. Okay. Alright. So instead of routes, we'll have our actual route. Actual route. Right. This is a safe closing closing tag. So our path. Tiga slash is the default path, right? Like per homepage. Then we'll figure out per localhost 3000. Depending on slash. So what we are saying is after tiga ngoloda. Is ibanga display channel. So basically is ibanga display an element. Right? And the element should be the homepage. Right? The element should be the homepage. So what we are saying here is you can go segula after you can start is done is land homepage. As you can see, there's a homepage. So far so good. So we'll copy this route and paste it down here so that we can now fill in for the about us, right? So when you go per localhost 3000 and click and go to the path about us, what should you do? You should open the about us page. Alright, so what we're saying is take a bit of a slash about us is a good about us page. So now we need to link these things to our buttons right here. Right? So how are we going to link to our buttons? So as I was saying, ku HTML and how use the anchor tag. Commando using React Router DOM, we'll be using the nav link tag. Right? So nav link amagwira benchidonga the anchor. Only this one is special in React for routing the pages. So let's go into our header and apply the nav link. Right? So I list item because nav link. So let's move the home. So add what you call a nav link. Nav link. And add in home. Alright, something like that. There we go. What's the problem? What's the problem? What's the problem? What's the problem? Right, so our nav link is complaining for some reason. Our nav link is complaining. Our nav link is complaining. What's the problem? The cannot destructure property, cannot destructure. So this is the good part about programming, right? So in programming, you have to actually face the errors, because from the errors is where you actually learn, right? So errors are there to build us, keep us going. Right, so for some reason this guy is complaining. So what I usually like to do, I like to remove the complaining part, right? And start things fresh. List item. Link. So cannot structure property, hidden nav link logo. So let's try to use the link. So there's another React Cloud DOM, which is the link. Yeah, the link. Let's try and see if the link will complain. So the link still complains. So let's simply follow up what's going on. Invoke. Okay, so let me take some time. All right, so to continue from, okay, so you cannot destructure the base name of use context. So I think the problem here is on the browser router, right? The implementation of a browser router is actually wrong, right? So let's add our browser router to our index.js. So we should remove the browser router from here. All right. So there's a problem in the setup. We missed the setup because the browser router should be used in such a manner, right? It should be the first element or tag being returned, right? So since here tufuna header watui azibanga appear on each and every page, so you might as well just add the browser router to index.js. Yeah. So let's just enclose this inside the browser router. Something else. So we enclose everything else inside the browser router. Like this. Right? So now we have our browser router like this. So if we go back to our React app, our browser router is not defined. Let's import it. So I've imported it. All right, there we go. Now we are fine and good to go. No errors, no complaining. So header to JSX, right? Inside, let's use the nav links. Let's use the nav links. So basically, these things are actually different. So I'll give you that as an assignment. Check the difference. Command the recommended one. I know this one, so I'll use the recommended one. So home, add in them, then home, add it in there. And the second one will be about us. So nav link amakaso ni ma default formatting again. As you can see, we're underline, right? Nav link underline. So let's give a nav link a global css kuti ma nav link ose amene tizilemba asamabwere ndi ma style zawozo. Ndo the text decoration zikhala none. Color, let's try to put it to red and see if it's responsive. Right, so as you can see, it's not responding. So let's go exactly directly to the header.css and let's try to apply it directly. Right, so it's not responding. So let's give it a class name. Right, let's give it a class name. Press Alt, select the case somewhere else and put class name. Let's give it the name of links, right? Let's reference it that way. Links. Oh, I was doing a mistake. Damn. Okay, so I was adding a dot as if a nav link is a class ID. Not class ID, but a class. Okay, so this one was wrong. I was supposed to not use this, but since we have created a class, let's just continue with the links. Okay, there we go. Now things are going as planned. Let's move this one. There we go. So all our stuff on list item, let's remove these things. Let's put them inside the links again, right? And on the hover, let's hover on the links. Dot links right there. Alright, there we go. Now we're good to go. Command when you click them, nothing is happening because we have not added where it should take us when we click them. So we go to header.jsx. Under nav link, we add the tag to. Alright, we add an attribute to. Alright, so the home will take us to slash, and the about us will take us to about us. So you must actually take note that right there. Right, so I had to take a call, but then we add the about us. So you must make sure that this about us is the same as yomwe tapanga add kupath kwathu kuja about us ya kale chimodzimodzi ndikuyilamika yani paheda pathu about us ake chimodzimodzi. Now we are definitely good to go. So let's go and click about us. Takes us to the about us page. You click home, take us to the home page. So basically that's how you do routing. So I think with these remarks, I think we can now end the video here. All right, but then if you have more questions, like you wanted to ask more questions, feel free to ask. I'm always present lab 2, lab my 3rd years. I'm usually there. All right, if you have a question, just come up and ask, and we'll help each other. Komano, basically my basics. From here now you'll be able to actually create an application, right? And structure and the guidelines. Now from here, let's say for example mukonjezera ma pages anu muzangopanga di link pa app.js, muzingopanga di link pa route, muzingopanga di route bas, mukapanga adi mu header mucha mukapanga adi bas. On its own, you do your design, you do everything else. Yeah. So basically this is how timapangira React. Okay, so if you want this the file code yomwe ndalembayi, just hit me up if you want it. All right, that's no issue. So yeah, so basically this is it about it. But don't forget to leave a review in the comment section. Don't forget to like, and don't forget to subscribe, because that gives me energy to continue helping you guys and giving you these contents, right? And I've read you guys have a database assignment. All right, if you're having problems with that assignment, feel free. Manena will help you out, right? Manena will help you out. Degree subangaweka, just as they say. So yeah, I'll not take much of your time. Of course, I've already taken much of your time, or we have taken much of each other's time. Okay, anyways, I'll end the video here.